Hello, welcome to another episode of In Between Homes. Today I have the pleasure to be interviewed by Jennifer Cavender. Jennifer, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much for allowing me to just enter your space and ask you whatever I desire. And the first thing that I've always been curious about that we have never talked about, even though we've had many conversations, is what really initially drew you to finance? Like, I've always wondered since you really shifted the way that you use finance and in helping others. What was like that initial spark that told you that's where you wanted to be?
Yeah, good question. I think when I grew up, my dad always told me, to have a safe job, you should go and work for the banks. Well, I kind of follow half of his wish. So just for the kind of the story, my dad loses job quite middle career, like 40 years old kind of things. And he has been through a hard time finding a new job, and it was a crisis, and then he was not so in a good shape. Like a lot of, I would say, reason and things that happened for him. So I grew up in a family where my mom was working quite hard, like 6 days a week, or yeah, 6 days a week, 6.5 days a week, to really bring the revenue at home and the income basically for the whole family, for me and my sister. And my dad was the one from outside, was like struggling to find a job. So he was doing at the time sales representative, and he was getting older, and on the market was younger people that were just graduated, more energy, more vitality. So he kind of was expressing to me when I would grow up that he was doing a job that is so many competition, and he hasn't been able to really reborn from that in a way. So for him, working in a safe environment like a bank would allow stability and financial security for myself. So this was my dad's story. I would say finances and money and the relationship with money was always something very heavy in my family. A lot of discord in the whole family around money, around inheritance, and in the daily life between my parents, a lot of dispute or argument around not having enough or struggling, not finishing the house in renovation because of money. Money was always kind of the reason for a lot of things. And when I was older in the age to go away to study and to leave home, I kind of did a promise to myself that I would never let money be the reason that I cannot do what I want to do. And I was kind of clear early age in my life that stop those bullshit around money. I know we all need money, and my parents needed more money. But I also noticed that money is a good excuse that we take for a lot of things. Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know if I can come with you this weekend. I don't have money. No, but the question is not about if you have the money. Is would you love to come with me this weekend? Then after, if it's the second, if you are not sure you can make it happen because you may not have the financial resources to make it happen, let's have a look to that problem. But the first question is, would you love? Would you love to do that? Would you? Because when we just are in relationship, if you always like things first about the money, it kind of break relationship between people, like whatever, daughters, sisters, mom, dad, like in the whole kind of relationship. If we just always put money first in the equation, I feel it's so wrong. And for me, it's like, as a kid, I grew up with like, what do you want? What would you love? And, I was like tired of money being the reason or the excuse for everything. So I think it's really where the love to redefine your relationship with finances, with money, has been very important in me, because I'm like, imagine a world where we can say first what we would love, and sometimes we just don't want to go on a weekend with this person because it's maybe not what we feel doing this weekend, or maybe you are tired. But just expressing the truth first about, hey, I would love, but right now is not a good timing for me. Or maybe, I prefer we stay like this and I don't want to go on a weekend with you. It's okay, it's no big deal at the end of the day. But putting an excuse and saying, no, I don't have the resources to make it happen, instead of saying the truth about the right reason. Maybe you're tired, you want to stay at home for the weekend, or maybe you would love but you can't and you feel ashamed around that. I think it's a beautiful way to actually open up to the person, like whatever is a friend or a lover, to be able to say, hey, yeah, I would love, but I can't, and then maybe solution will flow. Because what I noticed with money, if we would love to do things, we will find ways to receive this money, to find this money. We will make better decision. And okay, instead of going to drink a coffee outside, I will save this money and I will bring this money for a budget to go 1 weekend away, maybe in 6 months' time with this friend. We find money. So it's where for me, I'm really tired to have excuses about money, and I'm really like very mindful for my life to now really never really make money as a first question when I have to make choices. We make choices in business, in life, in so many projects, but I always kind of see the money as a step two. It's not that I don't care about money and I don't look, or I have too much financial to not look at that. This is not right. The reality is just the order we ask questions. So I think this is really the beginning of that.
Thank you. That's really powerful for me to see sort of your past and where you came from. We've never talked about that before, so I love that. So you spend some time in corporate and now you work a lot with entrepreneurs. And a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning, feel stressed or try to avoid the conversation about money. What is the biggest or most powerful thing that you have shared with your clients to help them shift from that place of just feeling like overwhelmed or disconnected from their numbers to help them move past that?
There is one important thing when you shift from an employee mindset to have your own business, is business is a transaction, is an agreement between you and me. Jennifer, I need to hire you. I want to do this with you. Tell me how you will do it, how much time you need. Maybe you need 3 months, 6 months, or maybe it's like 1 hour focus time and it's done. Tell me how you can support me. And of course, tell me your fee. Business is business. It's not the same with a friendship, But business, in a way, it's where sometimes I don't understand. The thing is, business is about talking to someone else and you're like understanding their problem, knowing what is your skill set and your expertise. And you're like, okay, I understand your problem. I can bring you from A to B because I have the skills to do that. And to do that, the fee is XYZ. So money in business is like a component in the formula. It's not a point of focus. What is important as a business owner or as a consultant, as a service provider, is really to step into what is the value I am bringing on the table? What is the transformation where I'm taking my client from A to B? What is this path? And seeing that the job that you deliver, the mission that you deliver, has a value, has an added value for them, The story is not about, am I valuable? Am I putting the right price for myself? No, it's how much value I bring to them. We are like a container that supports a transformation, that bring value on the table. But it's not for our little world. It's really for this company, this entrepreneur to grow and to make even more millions from what you are bringing on the table. When we are maybe scared or afraid about money, I would really do a personal checking with that, where first, do I know my financial situation? Clearly, where I am with money, how much I'm making, how much I'm spending. Then the second step is, how much do I need? Maybe just to live at the level of comfort that I would love. And also maybe you have a project, you want to buy a house, you want to, I don't know, some people want to travel the world, or you want to invest in another project. So how much money more you need as well? So when you have clarity about your needs, financially speaking, you will also be more, it's a posture. It's like, okay, I need this year to generate, maybe to double my income. It's scary, it's like, okay, if I'm really honest with myself, I need to double my income. I don't know yet how, but it's what I need. So you don't put all your expectation on one client maybe, but you are like, okay, I have the full picture of where I want to be. I have clarity and I know my numbers. I'm secure around that. So now when I go into a proposal mode and I offer my services to companies or to entrepreneurs, thinking about what I am bringing on the table for them. And there is kind of a connection between how much money you need in a year and how you put your time and effort towards supporting others in their dream, in their transformation, in their project. So I see money in business as, you must have a look to that. You must be able to talk about it. And I know sometimes, even for me, the conversation is not that easy. I have maybe butterfly inside my body before to actually present a proposal to a client, which is normal, because that means like it's a little bit going outside of your comfort zone. It doesn't mean that when I did the valuation of my work, I did it from a space of what feel right and how much I would feel comfortable and okay to do that service for the client. So it's a lot of sitting and stillness to really sit with what feel right for me. So it's hard in 5 seconds to really explain the whole process, but start, I would say, always by awareness about yourself. Then is about the value you bring to your client. And the third part is finding what is in respect of your time and your effort and your energy, and the reality as well of what could be the value of this from a client eyes. But I would say the client usually is not the one able to really give you a price, because when we deal about business, it's always about the perception, how much value you are bringing on the table for him or her business. So it's where the work is a lot on what is exactly my role there. The client express what he think he need, but the reality is probably he needs something slightly different than what he think he needs. But this, what he think he need, has a value in his mind. So the exercise, and when I teach service provider people to really get better valuation of their work, is always take time to really go into an assessment or like a mini audit with your client, to really diving into who they are, where they are at, and where they want to go. Because more you will be knowing their situation, more you will be able to face the pain point and to understand how you can bring value on the table. And they need to perceive you as added value to them, to the company. Because if they just see you like as maybe for me as a CFO, it's like a cost. Like, okay, companies wants to have a CFO every month, but I don't interact as a CFO. People reach out to me often as, Lucy, you are a CFO, I need you to come. But I kind of flip around the situation and the conversation by asking more questions about where they are and where they want to go. And it's where I try to define what is really the value I'm bringing for them. And it's how I really do my pricing. And it's not about how much time I give to them, but it's about the value of what I bring.
That's so helpful because as an entrepreneur myself, these are things that I struggle with. Coming from a background not that different from what you came from, this idea of money mindset is so important for me to revisit on a regular basis. So thank you for that. And what I really loved about what you said is the idea of when I'm communicating and having some anxiety maybe or resistance about money with a client, becoming aware of what my needs and where I am, valuing what I'm delivering, and then communicating that value to the client are like really important. So I took notes on that part. Okay, I have one more question about money, and then I'm going to ask you a personal question. Have you ever had to unlearn something about money or finance? And what was that?
I think yes. I don't have an exact example, but what I feel is, more we evolve, our main topic remain there, Finances, I think until the rest of my life, I will be challenged in a way. It is triggering some relationships sometimes, it's triggering some projects, some clients. And I always have to go back to my principle, dating my finances, knowing my numbers, aligning with where this maybe numbers coming from. Is it like a more ego things like I want to prove something, or is very a posture from no, I'm grounding and I'm in abundance and this is what I would love, it, so it's always like, for me, zooming in and out is like sometimes, yeah, the relationship with money is like, oh, am I still not still, but am I acting from a place of ego and scarcity? I would say more scarcity, like, oh, I'm fear that I will lose money, or am I really like truly in abundance? So what's coming to me is really this observation of myself in situations sometimes, and I'm like, hey, am I where I am? Checking in with myself, where I am, how maybe the relationship with money is influencing or not the relationship with a friend, with a partner, with a business. So I would say it's not so much about unlearning, but it's about, even though it's my field of expertise, I'm still a learner. I think this is, for me, the most in a way, maybe humbling process is, even though I can support a lot of people in finances and money and all of this, at the same time, every time I'm going deeper in that as well. So it's where I believe we always remain students, on our own main topic. And I don't want to be known tomorrow as the money queen or whatever, and then you see me from a pedestal perspective, or Lucy is right about money all the time. No, I may not be, because the world is also evolving and changing. And I think for me, I'm very excited about what's coming, because we were in a very capitalism life and I was not resonating so much with that. And we are shifting to something more collaborative, more partnership, more all of that. And I'm super excited about that. But for partnership to be working, people need to be okay with finances. We will need to trade money. We can trade a lot of things, and I've been doing a lot of type of trading, but we need just to be okay with money as well, because it's still the currency today of exchange. And when we are able to really put this down on the table, on the paper, on an agreement, on a partnership agreement, we all, both parts, feel more happy and at peace. And for me, this is the feeling of being okay, looking and or being a friend with finances, is this feeling of peacefulness. When this is sold out, if you observe in your life, if money is sold out, you can really focus on delivering the mission. You are not struggling about, hey, am I feeling underpay? Am I feeling overpay? You don't feel this pressure anymore. It's black and white on the paper. So I really encourage everyone today to just start being friends with money, because it shouldn't be in the equation. It's a criteria that we need. We put it on the paper, we sign, and that's it. And then when we need to reassess, because this is what happened as well in partnership, I noticed, is sometimes you need to reassess the partnership. Maybe after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, it's not feeling balanced anymore. The partnership doesn't feel right. So you need to be able to go to that partner, to that client, and say, hey, we need to rediscuss the term and condition of our work agreement. And heck yes to that. Because when you don't go to negotiate again those term and condition, I have seen behavior and professional behavior in business that are linked, the root cause is linked to the non-conversation about the agreement of money. So it's where it's so important to have the courage to go to see your client and say, hey, I need to have an open conversation with you about our agreement. There are 2 or 3 things I would love to reassess, readjust, and just have in mind all the time that it's because you want to bring more value to your client. I'm not going there to beg to have more money. Yes, at the end, it's maybe what you need, but it's also, we need to realign that actually I can bring more value to you. So then the new fee is like this. And that's it. That's simple as that. So I really encourage everyone.
Thank you. I love that. I think there's a lot of things that I felt like I was unlearning as I was coming out of the upbringing that I had. So that's really interesting to hear. So my next question, it kind of relates to the title of your podcast, right? So in between homes, one of the bravest things, the most courageous things that I think that you have done is leave your home, a place that felt probably safe and secure and familiar, and to really live in many different places all on your own. So my question is, did you have any fears around doing that? And if you did, how did you move through them?
Do you mean when I left Australia with a suitcase to
Yeah.
just be around the world?
I
Okay.
mean, even it could be that, or even when you left your original home and went to Australia.
What is the motor, the engine in me is, if the situation I am in is really uncomfortable, I have a tendency to kind of stay away too long to try to fix it. But at some stage, if I don't manage to fix that situation, for me, it's like, I need to go. I need to leave. So I have a good, I can handle really like an uncomfortable situation. I stayed too long in a toxic relationship 10 years ago in Vietnam. I stayed too long probably this corporate role in Sydney. And when I was trying to really launch this second business, I was really having a financial anxiety and seeing my bank account going down. So I was all those 3 situations. And when I left Bali to go to Australia, what happened is also a lot of craziness in my client side in Bali, when, the fear, like COVID is happening. Everyone was kind of getting crazy, and I was like, "Ugh, what's going on?" So all those situations, I decided I need to go away, but it was more temporary at first. I need to just change the scenery. I need to escape in a way that situation that doesn't serve me anymore. And as I don't know yet what is the next chapter, I I kind of live safely. I would say I always date my finances. I always know where I am financially speaking. And when I make a move, I look at, do I have enough financial to cover my living expenses? And then if I don't have so much finances, I find other ways. I did house sitting, did pet sitting. Some friends invited me to their house. Some had a second house. They opened their door for me. Like, see the beauty of the world, really. Like when I was struggling financially, and just by me sharing a bit more about that, and it was hurting, usually we don't share about when we struggle financially speaking, but I opened up with some friends, and I was not expecting anything from them, but everyone was so loving and caring, and I was like, wow. So for me, sometimes just going away, changing totally the scenery, it's more like a temporary transition that helped me to clarify where I am, what I want, and what I want for the next chapter. So it's more like a transitional period. The last one, when I did the world tour with a suitcase, was 16 months, but the plan was not that originally. It was 5 months away. But then it turned out that what I needed was to get closer to my sister, to my family. So I moved to Canada to be closer to her. And then I moved back to Europe to be with my family. And those kind of started to make sense. And then I was looking for my new home along the way, and none of the places at the time was calling me as a home. So except Bali, where it just called me to be back there. So I went back to Bali, but I just allow the space and the messy middle to happen. I think, if we stay in a situation that doesn't work and we don't do anything about it, we have still choices. You stay and you shut up, stop complaining, or you act on it. And acting on it, it's scary because there is a phase where you just don't know. So I'm very kind of comfortable in a way with those messy period of life where I just don't know, but I know my place is not anymore where I was. So I kind of transition out in a different country, in a different city, and I allow the mess to happen to me in a way, and to be guided to recenter, to find the fire within me, to to question myself, to look at myself in the mirror, to do personal growth work, to unlock, the next chapter. And then I put in place the right action to go to the next chapter. It may seem from outside very courageous, but actually for me, it was like the situation I was in, and I was like, I can't stay anymore there. And like, I'm done. Like, I'm suffering in a way, it's like, I need a change, and to change, even though it's scary to maybe make the decision to allow yourself for next chapter, the change for me, the risk of the change was less than the pain I was experiencing.
Amazing. Yes, from a person who lives 1 or 2 miles from the hospital where I was born. For me, it looks from the outside as very courageous.
But it's maybe, yes, but I think it's when we have also, the honesty to look at the mirror and say, hey, my current situation is painful. And maybe you don't need to go, like me, like 6 months or a year or in another country, but you can say, I need a week off. And I'm booking a week off media, off social media, off everything to reconnect to myself, to pause. Because, I know I have the whole flexibility to do what I do in an extreme way. But you have kids, you have, a partner, you have a stable place and concept that may seem harder. But what I mean is, to find clarity, sometimes it's good to have a pause. whatever, you go 1 hour away in a hotel room somewhere else, just changing the scenery for 3 days, you turn off your phone and you turn in, it's where the clarity is going to come. So I really encourage everyone to allow those pause, to recognize that, yeah, now I'm in a mess, like where I am right now, I don't feel right, or like it doesn't feel right. Like let yourself really feel and go dive into where this is coming from. So then once you have clarity on that, you can make this different decision. And most of the times, is really like shifting 10%. It's maybe making a different way you propose your services. Or maybe it's just blocking 2 hours in the morning for yourself instead of going straight to work. Like, you just need those little adjustments in life. But until the moment you take time to pause, to look at that, to acknowledge, you won't find those adjustments that are necessary for you. And those are what make your life way easier and way more harmonious and peacefully and joyfully.
Amazing. So I have one last question. And as you know, and you and I have had many conversations about joy. So I am an executive coach and I work a lot with the idea of leveraging joy in business and in life. So my question is, we've talked a lot about joy being different from happiness because it's more of an internal thing, something that we can access whenever we choose, as opposed to an external experience. So the question is, what is the one thing that helps you access your joy the most?
The word that coming to me is peace. When I have this inner peace, it really unlocked the joy. And for example, as a practice, I live not far from a beach, so I often go to the beach in the morning or sunset time and just, observing the nature and the ocean. It's like finding peace. Yeah,
Mm.
peace.
Would you say stillness helps with that?
I would even use the word pause.
Yes.
Because it's not so much stillness can feel like, oh my God, it's rigid. Like the body has to be like a monk doing meditation. It's not like, for me, the power is really in the pause, in switching off your brain. Like when I go to a massage, I have my most creative idea there because I think something happened in my system where I switch off. And it's the same for when I do the sunset pose. I love to call it like this because for me, it's like at the end of the day, I kind of switch up. I kind of summarize my day. I feel grateful. I'm like, wow, and seeing the sun going down, it's beautiful. It's a pause. Yeah. And silence, I would say, put yourself in silence, being disconnected from notification and social media or even external noise. Nature is so powerful for that. When you go in the forest or by the beach, I live in places where there's a lot of people on the beach, but you can find those, bubble in a way. It's, for me, yeah, silence is very powerful.
Well, thank you. This has been a fun conversation. I am grateful to know you, to be a part of your world, and hopefully to get to see you in person very, very soon.
In a month from now. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and see you next week on In Between Home podcast.